Thank you very much, Roy, for this quick fix. Quick fix. So, friends, very good evening, and once again, thank you, Bindu and Sai, for organizing this wonderful evening. Uh, Friends, I've been in the U.S. It's great country for the last 10 days, and it was really memorable. And I landed in Boston, and then today we are in Chicago. Couple of days ago, we were in Bloomington. Then we had an opportunity to visit Abraham Lincoln's Memorial Museum, and it was a really kind of great moment in our stay in this 10 days. So on one of the walls in the museum, it was written that I don't want to be a slave, neither I want to be a master. So that was something the great Abraham Lincoln has said, and then it really caught my attention, and then started, making me thinking. I wish all our rulers could have, thought about this great saying that many of our rulers want to be masters, and they don't want to be slaves, and then they want all the slaves, and then they want to be masters, and this is what has been happening to the country. Anyway, that's a different subject, but coming back to the point here, um, I always wanted to be, as a child, wanted to be a lorry driver, because that's what fascinates any child in the villages, particularly because you rarely see in automobiles, because I'm born into a very interior district, interior place in Mahbub Nagar district in those days. Now it is Nagar Karnool, it's part of Nalamala reserve forests all across Krishna River. So we saw electricity at 8th grade. So till such time we were living in the interior villages. So now and then lorries used to come. So one day my mom asked me, "What do you want to become?" So I want to become a lorry driver. So that's the most exciting thing to happen for any child. So my mom thought that she was a child laborer. So like Gadari Priyanka's parents, so she was a child laborer. So she could escape the cycle of poverty, drudgery, thanks to a couple of teachers. So she became a headmistress. She worked very hard, and then she became headmistress and retired. She's 81 now. So then my mom thought this guy is going to definitely achieve his goal of becoming a lorry driver. Not that lorry driving is bad, but she thought I can become much more better. So she had pushed me out of home, and then I stayed in a hostel in uh, Karnool, because Maybunar shares border with Karnool, and then we were on the border side. And then later I came back to Alampur, the temple town, which is called as Dakshina Kasi of India. So then my father desperately wanted me to be a doctor. So, and then earn with both the hands. So sorry, doctors, but my father. Then I said I want to go to agricultural university, Rajendra Nagar, because I like the place. Although I got admission in a medical college, but I preferred agricultural university over uh, medical profession. So then I completed my veterinary science for graduation, and then my professors wanted me to be a vet. Then I wanted to be agricultural extension officer, so I switched over to agricultural extension. Then my professors wanted me to be a professor. Then I switched over to IPS. So then I did serve in IPS for about 17 years, and then many of my colleagues wanted me to continue in that, and then but separate Telangana movement in 2009, that is second phase of Telangana agitation, opened my eyes, and then I saw a lot of sacrifices made by the students, and then I was stationed in Usmania University for about 2.5 years. So all the hard work made by the students, sacrifices, debates, and then discussions, professions, whatnot, everything that is needed for a mass movement called Telangana, called separate Telangana agitation. So then that made me realize that there is much more we can do to these poorest of the poor people who are literally dying on the streets. So then I thought I should go back to the classroom and then see what best we can do to students. Then I took a break from my policing, and then I came to the best university, one of the best universities in the world, Harvard. So I did my masters there and then came back. Again, I wanted a switch of profession. So then I went to my DG, and then DG permitted, but he was not sure whether CM would permit or not. Then I walked into the CM's office. He was Kiran Kumar Reddy in those days. Then I asked him whether I can serve in education sector. So he said he saw many police officers who would normally come to him and ask for commissioner of police or inspector general of police zone where you can wield a lot of raw power on all the people. So he thought this guy must be a mad, and he told me that Harvard has spoiled your brain. So then I said, yes, Harvard has spoiled my brain. Then I want to work with the same spoiled brain in welfare sector. So he wanted me to. So I asked him, I requested him rather, so to post me to a welfare sector which no officer wanted to go. So the average tenure of any officer in that great organization was just 3 months, because in welfare sector what happens is you always look at poverty, then you look at poor people, then who do not have proper clothes, and then who sleep in the railway stations and come to government office, and watchmen or watchwomen, the security guards, they threaten them, they collect money to make them enter the government offices, and then they always come to you, they touch your feet, and then they cry, they tell the stories of poverty, and then you only have to spend, you can't earn in welfare. So many officers wanted the tough posts like transport, and then commercial taxes or infrastructure where you handle big money. So but I didn't want to do that. That was kind of a crime, so crime on humanity. So I wanted welfare post, and then the very first day when I entered with the AK-47 rifle and Glock pistol, because I changed my avatar from police to but government continued to give me the security. So the first day teachers strike the work because they didn't want a policeman entering into their classrooms with kalashnikovs and then Glock pistols. So they said this guy is gonna torture us in the name of punctuality, in the name of results. So this was the kind of thing. But children like Priyanka and all this, like we had about Andhra Pradesh was together in those days in 2012. So we had lots and lots of students. Like in those days, it was about 1.72 lakh students. We have had poorest of the poor students. So I went to a place called Anantapur. So why these teachers started striking the work, and then I told them, look, please give me an opportunity, because I am also a product of the system, same system. I wanted to give back to the system. So I wanted to make many more children like me as IPS officers or IAS officers, or entrepreneurs and doctors, engineers, so on and so forth. But finally, after some time, they relented. They went to chief minister, but chief minister said, "I'm not going to take back my decision. Once I post an officer, so he's going to be there forever. So till I bring him out." So then they came back, and then I went to a place called Anantapur, which shares border with Karnataka. So I went to a classroom, and then I spoke for a while, and then while I was coming out, one of the girls, her name is Radha Priya. I still remember, it was in 2012. Said, I have a doubt. Not doubt, I have a request. So then I asked, please God. Then she said, sir, I want to touch your pistol. So then I realized, gosh, on one hand, teachers are striking the work because I'm going to desecrate their classrooms. So with my guns. On the other hand, the children, want to touch my weapons. So then I asked her, why do you want to do that? So I said, I want to feel the power. I want to feel powerful, because every day we are oppressed in our villages. Every day people shout at us. Every day we move, and then we really get scared when we see the landlord shouting at our parents, so on and so forth. So the oppressive structures in the villages have demolished the self confidence and the self respect of people. Millions of people in this country. Then that gave me a lot of confidence, and then I took permission from my wife, and then I I was off from home for about 6 months, and then I went to Srikakulam, I went to Anantapur, I went to Adilabad. I visited almost all the schools. So one of the important things that I discovered is children are really energetic, but they were living in an artificial world. So the artificial world where there is subjugation, there is humiliation, there is rejection, there is ridicule, there is low expectations. So when the expectations are low, so you also perform low because the bar is not high. So you don't know what exactly is your potential. That's where I met a tribal girl called Malavat Puna. I didn't know that she was a tribe, but a girl, Malavat Puna. So she's from the same place where our Fool Singh, comes. So I went to a place called Tadwai, and then I was shaking my hands with the girls, and most of the hands were very rough and tough. So I asked the principal, her name was Dhanlakshmi. So how is that these children have very rough hands? So she said, sir, whenever they go back to their homes, they do coolie, and then they will help their parents, and then sometimes they go starving. Sometimes they don't come at all because of the harvesting season. So sometimes they miss the schools, but some girls come. This girl is very good at volleyball, and then she also good at coco. So then I came back, and then I started thinking this is not the way. So the children are very energetic; they do very well. But see, the tragedy is there was a lot of money in our coffers. Every time our secretaries used to send 100 plus crores back to the government, saying that there is nothing to spend. So as Roy Mantena was sharing, that welfare sector is not to provide the shelter. So they used to think that it is only to provide shelter. If you are hungry, so I'll give you food. If you don't have shelter, so I'll give you shelter, right? So if you want to know how to read and write, so that you become an educated wife or educated parent, oh, that's enough. Okay, so you know how to calculate your daily kharcha, so on and so forth. So that was a kind of concept that was there. So but I wanted to change all that. So this is not how welfare. So our predecessors, senior officers, they used to send the money back to the government thinking that there is nothing. On the other hand, I had 1.72 lakh children coming from the poorest of the poor homes, and then some of them are from orphans, some of them are semi-orphans, some of them do not have homes. So this was the kind of situation. So, but officers never used to touch the ground. So they were always a file pusher. So I didn't want to do all that. So I said no. So we're going to change. First thing what we did was we changed the name of the students. I did not take any permission from the government because I didn't want to use the same terms like Dalit, then Badugu, Balahina, and Nimna. These are the Telugu names which really take you to the painful past. So Badugu, Balahina, Badugu is a pitch day in Hindi. So Balahina is Kamjur, then Nimna is Loya, then Dalit is broken. So do you feel happy about these words? None of us, because we are all we are all human beings, and then we are in a very setting which tries to bring out the best out of you. So none of us feel happy about these things, but when you throw these words on children, they really feel sad. They don't know what their potential is, and their performance will go down. So one day I went to a place called Cherial in Jangaon district, from which Dr. Venkat comes from. So I met a child. So what's your name? So he was okay. Then what's your father's? Then started shivering. Where do you live in the village? Further shivering. So he was not at all normal. Then principal called me, sir, please don't ask all these questions. Our children, they get shaken because the more you ask them, the more you are intruding into their lives, which are so scary, which are so oppressive. So they feel very sad about it. And then please don't ask these questions. That's the time I came back, then had a brainstorming session with all our officers, and said, I'm not going to use these things. I'm going to change the name called, which can replace these oppressive names, and then so that they can give with the name that can give them confidence. So that's where we, started with a movement called SWERO. SW stands for State Welfare. So because these are the institutions, like there are hundreds of institutions under my control, which are funded by the state, started, way back in, 1984 or much before that. So then aero is something synonymous with air and sky. So where you see, arrow is like you always fly. So we thought this is a very good name, which is having a lot of power. And then fortunately for us, then we this name landed very well. Then I gave an instruction to all the principals that never use the word called Dalit or Badgu or Nimna, Balahina. So which will make children feel sad and then oppressed. So then mere changing of name will not do anything. So you need to have a software that can guide you all through the life. That's where Bindu comes into picture. She was saying about the 10 commandments. It's not those 10 commandments which you find in a Bible, the biblical 10 commandments. No, these are the 10 commandments which bring out the best in you. But you have to discover your own best. So I can only create an infrastructure. So I never went to gather Priyanka and then taught her how A plus B whole square works, or how gravity works, or how some mathematical equations work, how mitochondria generates power. I did not tell all those things, but I created a feeling that she can do anything if she were to be given a good support. So then we created 10 commandments. We had spent sleepless nights to create, because they are going to change the lives of the people, not just one, not just two, maybe millions of people. So we started with first commandment: I am not inferior to anyone. Second is, I shall be the leader wherever I am. Third is, I shall do what I love and be different. Fourth is, I shall always think big and aim high. Fifth is, I shall be honest, hardworking, and punctual. Then sixth is, I shall never blame others for my failures. Then seventh is, I shall repay what I borrow. Eighth is, I shall neither beg nor cheat. Ninth is, I shall never fear the unknown. And the 10th one is, I shall never give up. So these are the 10 commandments we sent to the all the schools, like hundreds of schools in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So fortunately, all the students started reciting these things, and then there were discussions in the classroom, there were discussions in the playgrounds, there were discussions in the homes about these things. There was discussion in the dining hall. This is how that became an alternative conversation in the schools, wherein every day there was humiliation and ridicule, and that was replaced by aspiration and a new horizon. So that's how this uh, 10 commandments came into picture. After that, Mount Everest. So we wanted to prove whether 10 commandments work or not. So then we trained the Malavat Purna and then Anand Kumar, all these people. They had nothing, literally nothing. So Pulsing comes from the same area. So they're all forest areas, and then sometimes you don't find anything substantial out there. So from there, these people, we trained them, and then we had sent them to Mount Everest expedition. Then 18 people died in that expedition. So not one, not two, 18 Sherpas died in that expedition because of an avalanche. Then I called these kids, say, hey guys, would you come back? Because I have a lot of pressure. So because the government issued the GO on my name, should anything go wrong, you are responsible. So then I called these guys, and they said, no, we are not gonna come back, because is for ages we have been oppressed, and then we want to prove to the world that we are not inferior to anyone. So we will, if death has to happen, so no problem, but we want to die on the peak of Mount Everest. So this is what has happened, and then finally, fortunately for us, they have landed on, they have set their foot on Mount Everest, and then they have placed our Tiranga national flag on Mount Everest, and the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on Mount Everest, and then S.R. Shankaran, the famous IAS officer, was sacrificed all his life for the marginalized. So they came back. Anyway, so this is what I have been doing, but it gave me a lot of confidence as well. So it gave a new reference point and the new beginning and the new trajectory for me. So then after that, we started a lot of experiments. We Sainik schools, then sports schools, then law schools, and then whatnot. So film schools, everything. So every possible domain which any the foreign tours and ISEC programs, internships in the foreign countries for those people who have not boarded bus, who have not boarded a train in their lives. So we have called them from, I still remember a story of a girl, Anjali. She's from an interior forest. She belongs to Gond tribe. And this girl was picked up from Mangi Reserve Forest in Adilabad district. Somebody is from Asifabad here. So, yeah, he just left, right? So From that place, we have sent that girl to Poland. And you know what she did there? She taught English to Polish people. So she had taught English to Polish people. So some girls went to Morocco, some girls went to Russia, some girls went to Egypt, and Cambodia, whatnot, many places. Girls in India going to foreign countries without escort. Imagine 18, 19, 20, 21 years old girls. So that was the kind of adventures we have done. So anyway, we have done a lot of things. Then this discussion is not about education. So then I like, my budget was just 1,000 crores. So 1,000 crores, and then I had to spend all those 1,000 crores for 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh students. So then you might ask me, why did I leave my job? You might be having this question in your mind. So why did I leave my job? I left my job because I thought 1,000 crores in India is not an ordinary budget. It's a huge budget in a country like India, because we with 30-35% of the population are still living on poverty. And then, as where Dr. Venkat rightly pointed out, 40% of people still do not know how to read and write. And then still you have so much of budget on your hands, and then I could create so many wonders without eating even a single penny, wasting single penny. So I thought, if you give me 1,000 more, I can help 1 lakh more children. If you give me another 1,000, I can create infrastructure for another million children. But this did not happen. I'm not against any political party. This doesn't happen because our politicians, they see education as the wasteful expenditure. I'll tell you why. Because in education, gestation period is very long. You join at first grade and then you become useful for the society, they think, about only 21 years. So you get the voting age of 18 years. So that won't really help you as a politician. You have to show a building. Okay, देखो मैंने एक building बनाया. So देखो, I have done so many glassy buildings. So vote for me. Okay, good. I've given you pension. Okay, I gave you a couple of beers. Vote for me. I gave you 2 saris. Vote for me. This is what is working. So they said, no, education is okay. It's not a big big deal. So it's not going to help us anymore. But I was very passionate about education, because but for education I would not have been here. But for education you would not have been here. So I'll just fast forward this, and then I went to Dubai before I landed in Boston. So on 12th I landed in Dubai, where you have lakhs of Telangana people and Andhra people as well. So, and other states also. Telangana people working in Dubai, but not as professionals like you. They are working as laborers, slaves, dropouts from the system. They don't know what's visa. They don't know how to buckle the belt. 2019, I went from Hyderabad to Muscat, and then the moment plane landed, then people, they removed the belt and then started walking, and then the plane was still on the runway. So you can imagine what's happening. So it's not their fault. They're illiterate people. They were doing coolie, and then suddenly somebody said, "Chalo, Gulf jayenge." So then they took a visitor visa, and then they came. They landed. 15 days over. Then after that, police chased you because your visa got expired. Then agent doesn't turn up. Then your visa doesn't get converted to work visa. And these people, they were staying in camps. Camp is the most horrific thing to happen to anybody in life. You may have seen some images of submarines, then second class compartments in the trains in the country, first lower berth, middle berth, and upper berth. So like that, these poor people, they stay in the camps, and they didn't know how to read and write, and then they didn't know what to happening. Then they can't go to embassy because they have no idea. They can't go to police station either, because police will catch you because you have no passport, or your visa is expired. So they were caught between devil and deep sea. And then all of them, the common feature among all of them is they were dropouts. On the other hand, Kerala, Kerala people were managers in the same Gulf. The 30% of Gulf economy runs with not total. The basic economy is run by Kerala people, and then their population is about 30-35% in United Arab Emirates. And our people, while they do janitor job or the construction laborers, Kerala they manage the entire organizations and then middle level management, so on and so forth, because they have fully educated state. On the other hand, in Telangana, I'm just taking an example of Telangana. So 3.77 crore is the population of Telangana, and the people who do not know how to read and write even today is 1.8 crores. 75 years of independence. This year we are celebrating 75 years of independence. Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. We are celebrating by spending huge sums of money, and 1.8 crores of Telangana people do not know how to read and write, and nobody wants to pay attention to this. See the difference. Dubai, same Telangana people. Chicago, same Telangana people. Chicago people, they know the world. They know how to work, how to communicate with people of different cultures, different ethnicities, and then people with varied degrees of education, so on and so forth. And in Dubai, they have nothing. So this is the difference education makes. So that's why I'm very passionate about education. So I'm passionate about girls' education particularly, because girls deserve better treatment, because once girl is educated, the whole family is educated. So that is that is the importance of girls' education. But this our politicians do not want. With my own eyes and touch India, with my own feet and then eyes and then hands. So that's why I again went on a yatra. I traveled for about 17,000 kilometers in Telangana, then met about 6 to 7 lakh people, and I visited about 780 villages. Ladies and gentlemen, India is at the brink of disaster. The government, for example Telangana, happens to be the highest liquor drinking state. You go to websites, it's not my, you go to any website, type in Google which is the highest liquor consuming state in the country. You will get Arunachal Pradesh followed by Telangana. So Arunachal Pradesh is a small state, but Telangana is a new state. Government has earned 35,000 crores in 1 year. I've shared it in Boston. I'll share it with you. During my yatra, I went to a place called Nagaram, which happens to be the native place of one of the ministers. At 7:30 p.m., 3-4 ninth graders come to me. So, oh, sir, Jai Bhim, oh, Jai Praveen Kumar. I said, you look very boisterous. You don't seem like normal students. I went close to them. Then I was hit by the smell of liquor. Then I asked the parents, Amma, enduku taagandru? So, sir, నాకు కంట్రోల్ లేదు. సో ఎందుకు కంట్రోల్ లేదు? సో దే సెడ్, సార్ ఊర్లో ఎక్కడైనా దొరుకుతున్నది, నీళ్ళ కన్నా ఎక్కువ దొరుకుతున్నది లిక్కర్. సో now government, to earn the income, they have started something called belt shops. So there is a wine shop, it's a hub, then spokes are belt shops. So from hub the wine goes, and then that is called as KCR Mandu, because KCR is our chief minister. So he has made liquor so cheap that is almost like a bottled water. So these children, having worked in the tractor, then sand quarries, etc., they earn some money and then go on. They don't go to school, they earn money and then they take liquor. So 30 to 40% of rural women, working women, they lost their husbands. And most of them died because of liquor, either accidents or suicide or cirrhosis. Then to test my assumptions, I went to Nalgonda Government General Hospital, Medical College. There is a medical college in Nalgonda. I went to the superintendent, asked him, sir, what is the single most thing that we have to do to save the lives of people? Stop liquor or control liquor. But government doesn't want to do. Government wants to increase its revenues. So what I am trying to tell you, the money that is supposed to come to the investment of the poorest of the poor children. So he is going somewhere else. The rich are becoming richer, poor are becoming poorer. So I requested Mr. Pool Singh. I'm coming back to again Pool Singh and then Sai and Bindu, and there is another guy called Shankar. These have been the products of the same system, the government schooling system. So I requested Mr. Pool Singh to permit me to take a video of his, and sharing his story within 1 minute, and then post it in Twitter. And within 21 hours, it got 17,000 views. 17,000 views. What I told in that video is, look, here is a gentleman who was a product of the system, whose parents are agricultural laborers. He was born in an interior forest called Pandimadugu. Manala was a very notorious forest. So, and then he comes to he worked as a shepherd for till 9th year of his life. So, for 9th year age, he was a shepherd. Accidentally, he goes to a school because he didn't like the shepherd thing, and then later on he becomes student, and then goes to Usman Engineering College, and then he becomes an engineer, and then lands in the US, and then today he owns Audi Q7. He's a state ninth ranker. I'm sorry, state ninth ranker, and he was a shepherd. He was a shepherd turned state ninth ranker. Imagine. Imagine the story. This is the story I want to replicate in each and every household. Any politician, in Telugu there is a saying, Medakaya Mida Talakaya Undavadu. So any politician with a little bit of sense would love to replicate this story. But ladies and gentlemen, please remember, the politicians in this country do not want to do that. They want to maximize their profits. They want to go for signature projects. In our state, a great, like US Congress, our government is building a new secretariat, wherein there are a lot of buildings which are vacant. The cost of new secretariat is 1,200 crores as on today. It might get jacked up. On the other hand, the students who are studying in the schools, they have no dorm. The classroom, in the night it becomes a dorm. In the day it becomes a classroom. No, can this happen in a state where the budget is 2.5 lakh crores? So this is what agitated me. That's why I left the service. I had 6.5 years service left. My mother came running to me. बेटा तुम क्यों छोड़ दिया? हम बहुत गरीब लोग हैं. Like तुम्हारा पड़ोसी, like all my neighbors are stone cutters. Kankara Kulilu in Telugu you have to call. So they are stone cutters. So they have they used to feel proud that one of their family members is an IPS officer. It's not an ordinary thing. IPS officer, after so much of an additional director general of police. My mom started crying. I said, no, please don't cry. You have to bless me. So you have to bless me, because I'm not going to keep quiet. I'm not going to restrict myself to 1.72 lakh children or 2.5 lakh children. Now I have to raise voice for millions of children in this state and then country. So then she got convinced anyway. She prayed for me, and then she went off, and then recently she gave me 50,000 rupees as a donation from her pension. So so that was a kind of thing that is happening. So that's the reason why I left the service and then I joined the politics. So I'm very happy with what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna do much more. I'm gonna go to the ground. I'm gonna tell people what they actually deserve, and then what brings prosperity into their homes. Not the pensions. I'm not against the pensions that is given by the governments to poor people, but governments to garner votes. To garner votes, they have made people addicted to these small things, and then they release these things only 6 months before elections. For 4 years, people will cry, sir, mere pension nahi aa raha, mere wo nahi aa raha, mere ye nahi aa raha. Government promised 2.5 lakh double bedroom homes. Not one, not two. You know how many double bedroom homes they have delivered? 20,000 in the last 8 years. Our chief minister has not entered into a single school. Maybe he might have visited one, but not even a single time to university. Why? There are 3,000 posts of professors in the universities, and there are only 800 people lying there. Triple IT Basar. Basar is, the temple of Saraswati is there. So in Triple IT Basar, there are 169 posts, and then there are only 19 professors. Remaining are vacant. 1,200 students get sick because of frog in the Food, engineers. You know how triple IT Basel students are selected? The best students from all across Telangana are handpicked by the collectors and then sent to Basel. And today, that institution at the brink of danger. So this is where the problem is. This is where the gap is. That's the reason why I came to politics, and I'm really enjoying my political journey. I was in Yatra. So coming to Global NRI Forum, so Venkat and then Roy and many other people. So they have started Global NRI Forum to have to trigger the conversation in the US among all people, like-minded people, not just Telugu people, but even Maharashtrians and Punjabis, and then everybody. So they must talk about the alternative politics for this country, which do not have any hidden agendas. I have no hidden agenda. I have only one agenda: make every pool sing in every home. That is my agenda. Make one Priyanka in every home. Make one Bindu in every home. Make one Sai every home. Make Venkat. Make everybody. So that they can stand on it. They can make the nation great. Nation is not just land and real estate. Nation is not just one canal. Nation is much more. Much more. Nation is people. Nation is brain. Nation is a collection of millions of brains, but those brains are being brainwashed for silly reasons. Like last week we had, communal rights situation in Hyderabad. For a simple statement, one MLA gives a very poisonous statement against one community, then suddenly there is a communal. Is this the kind of MLAs do you need in the assemblies and then parliaments? So this is the problem in India. So that's why we wanted to have an alternative politics. So that's why I'm very passionate about doing this. So that's why I joined a political outfit, and then I'm here in the US on the invitation of Global NRI Forum, and then thanks to these people have been really working hard, and then bringing all of you together to trigger the conversation, to spread the message across, to beyond the caste and communal lines, beyond the geographical lines, beyond the professional lines, beyond the gender lines. This message should reach to everyone who is passionate about bringing the change in the motherlands. So that's why we are all here today in the evening. So I really thank you. I thank you, profusely for your undivided attention and sparing your valuable time here. And then what I all need from you, or request from you rather, that we need ideas, we need solidarity, we need ideas, we need the support, and we need your time to take out some time. Today evening we were meeting a friend, common friend, and they were really passionate, they were really concerned about our motherland. So where are we heading to? Every day you get only a negative news, you don't get the inspiring news from your motherland. So we need to have frameworks, we need to have get-togethers, we need to have the congregations wherein we discuss about the issues, wherein we discuss about the future, wherein we discuss about the opportunities available in the new horizon, but not the hidden agendas where you create a building, you create an ecosystem, and then you open a tap from the back end so that you get a lot of money into your coffers, and then you start enjoying all with all the public money. That's the reason why you have a lot of farmhouses today. On the other hand, one hand, farmers are committing suicides and the rulers are constructing the farmhouses. So one of the chief ministers in India has 50 acres in 2014. Today he has 300 acres, and it is surrounded by eight feet, high compound wall with solar fencing around, and then at any given point of time, 200 policemen guarding the farmhouse. And where is the money coming from? That those politicians, they don't share the secrets of becoming rich, so these are the things that are happening in India. So this must be solved, and somebody somewhere, someone has to start. And then I thought, as Rabbi Hillel said, if not now, when? And if not you, who? So that's the reason why I am here. So I thank you once again for somebody, Avinash drove all the way from 4.5 hours from Indianapolis, and then Pool Singh came from Bloomington, and then many more people have come from different places. And I know how important Friday evening could be, so in a place like Chicago. So thank you very much, Chicago. It's a great honor to be in your midst. And Chicago, Illinois is a place where You have so many transformational ideas generated in this, and this gave Obama, this gave Lincoln, and I'm really, really honored to be here. Thank you very much, Bindu, and then Sai, for this great evening. So, Vijay, thank you very much. Questions? Very good question. May I know your name? I forgot your name. Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna Reddy. Yeah. So this is a very important question. So one of the important things that we can do to break this vicious cycle is to send as many role models as possible into the communities. That is the only way you can change the mindset of people. That's the reason why in all the schools that I have managed in the last 9 years, every third Saturday we used to send people under the program called lessons of life, lessons for life. So under that we used to collect bios of people like you, or bring the people like you, and then take them to different schools in interior areas. And on that day many parents also would come. So and then make people like you to talk to them, and then tell your own journey. So tell somebody's journey, and then give a testimonial to the parents, and then children are also there, and then parents are also there. And second thing, what we did was take all these role models back to the communities. Parents are illiterate, so but they want for generations. Telangana is one of the states where you have 5 generations working as coolies. The great grandmother worked as coolie, then grandmother worked as coolie, then mother worked as coolie, and then daughter is also working as coolie despite education. Why? Despite education, daughter is working as coolie because there is nobody to take care of the family. Then the incomes are very low, and husband is sick. So that's why daughter is forced to go to coolie. So I have seen many of such stories, painful stories in my journey. One of the reasons is lack of awareness. So you have to send as many role models as possible. Number two is, more than Indian Institutes of Technology or NITs, I think we need to have institutes of parenting. In India, we don't have institutes of parenting. So today I met someone who is working for Institute of Aging. So I really like the idea. So similarly, you should also have institutes of parenting. Although you don't know how to read and write, but parents, we have to plant those aspirations in the minds of parents. So it has to be a movement. It can't be a kind of you set up a one school in Usmania, then make everyone go. No, people are poor. They can't even go from village to mandal headquarter, a village to district headquarter. So what will they do? So that's why we need to have schools of parenting on a larger scale. So probably these two things will change. And the third thing is syllabus, changing the syllabus. So in our syllabus, you hardly find the inspirational stories. So if I were to be a secretary, I would make Pool Singh as a lesson. And then I'll call Pool Singh and then make him talk. I'll make Purna as a lesson. So, and I'll make Venkat Maharaj as a lesson. I'm just telling an example, not that, they're the only people. But so if these stories are told to children, they can easily relate. And then when I tell Nagarjuna is, kind of rags to riches story, and then now see how Nagarjuna looks like. Now today we have wrong role models in the society. We have, the celebrities are good, but the same celebrities go to Radisson pub and then take cocaine. And today the same celebrities go and then take, a couple of beers and sexually assault a girl on the streets of Hyderabad in Mercedes-Benz luxury cars. And they are the celebrities today. And then they are taken to the schools, and then the lifestyles are, news channels show only those people, and then these people end up wrong. In one raid in Radisson pub, 100 people were picked up by police, and then everybody had some or other thing, prohibited substance. And these people are from high society, and then people talk about only those people. Why don't they talk about you? Why don't they talk about this girl? Because they are not, their TPR ratings will not go. will not go up. So that is the problem in the society. So we have to break that. We have to dominate the conversation with stories like this. Then only people and parents will change. So I think this is what is the solution. Otherwise, we are going to in social welfare. I created a program called Future Parenting. So thanks to Corona, COVID-19 pandemic. So during COVID-19, what I did was every week I trained about 1,000 parents. So like that, I trained about 40,000 parents. During that session, Zoom calls, everybody would be given a Zoom link, and then that fellow will install a Zoom app and then do it. So during those Zoom conversation, I used to call people like you. I used to call people like Rai Dasmanthan. I used to call people like Venkat Maharaju, Bindu. So everybody who has done something great, and then make them tell the story. So probably that might work. But it has to be a movement. In India, place like in India, government departments will not be able to bring the change entirely. It has to be a movement like Acharya Vinobhava was Bhudan movement, or freedom movement. So our Telangana movement, you have to have a movement. Unless something becomes like a movement, the change won't happen in India. I've seen the last 26 years, one of the most important learnings for me as an Indian citizen and as an officer is, change happens in India only when it becomes a movement. So now it has to be connected emotionally. Then only it means, there is no emotion, then it won't happen. Yeah, that's true. He's right.